In this sprint, I've been able to update the enemy UML to reflect a new flyweight pattern that we've been using for holding the character images for the different ships that are going to be used in the game. You can see how the game data goes and actually stores the flyweight items, and the flyweight items are actually referenced out of the game data. So that way each ship doesn't have to have their own instance of the images. I've also, you can kind of see a little bit more of a detailed one here, where you can see these first two parts is the game data information where it actually creates the flyweight object, and then in the actual flyweight it actually sets in here, or in the enemy ship it sets in here the ship type, and the image is called from the game data to actually set the image for that. I've also gone and updated the scores values and the health for the enemy ships. Each one has a different value depending on which ship it's going to be. I'm currently waiting for the weapon system to be implemented, and once those are implemented, each ship will use a different weapon to fire at the player. I've cleaned up some of the parent interfaces. There was a number of issues with different states that were used, as well as some redundant interface method calls that were used in other methods, and so I cleaned up some of those. I've also kind of fixed up some of the movement for the ships to kind of better optimize a little bit, such that enemies are cleaned up once they reach a certain position on the field. They're actually removed from the game data, so it's easier to use. I've added new enemies and new images for those, and I've added in a spawn command to help for debugging, as well as a number of enemies that spawn randomly for helping debug for the other members. Here's the demo for what I've been able to get so far. You can see the different ships that are used here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So there's 5 different ships that are set in here for right now. And once they go completely off the screen, they're removed from the game data to help better optimize some of the memory usage for this. I can also press S, and it will spawn in a number of new enemies. You can see here I can spawn in quite a few enemies. This will be helpful for testing the weapon system as well as the collision system. And then also at other intervals, a number of other enemies will go and spawn in as well. So the game will last a bit longer for debug purposes, as well as for the continued play of the game.